Yes, boys, hope you're all doing fantastically well. Boys and girls, I should say, what's going on in your world? It is your afternoon stream, everybody. We're back with a bit of energy. We've got the yerba mate on tap. We're here. We're locked in for the evening. General channel, Conor McGilligan. We're going live. Sunderland versus Borough later on. Let's see if they can replicate what Leeds replicated at the weekend in terms of quality, baby. Let's wait and see. But make sure you're locked in on Conor McGilligan, everybody. You know it. The second channel, it's doing really well at this moment in time. But thank you so much to all of you who've gone over there. Now, you're probably thinking, Conor, you are by your sen, as some of you may say. Some of you may say self. The generic football term is sen. I've started saying that a lot more since I've been on the dark side of the Pennines, just to let people know where I'm from. Anyway, Brownie is going to be on, everybody. It's going to be a 4:15-ish return for DB. He's coming on around about that time. Listen, he's working. These people are coming out of their way and coming on the show. They do not have to do so. We've got Oscar a little bit later on tonight as well for the roundup at 11 o'clock. Was with Oscar at the weekend when I was in the South Stand as well. So, yeah, there we go. Listen, what I want to do, everybody, is speak on this. Oh, clickbait, Connor. No, not clickbait. So, Armstrong and Archer. So since we were last on and we did the 3-hour stream, yes, everybody, 3-hour stream, there's been a little bit of development. Now, what I can tell you is I have been told, now I'll read this out to you, and obviously I will not let this go who this is. Armstrong was offered to Middlesbrough. This happened around about, I believe it was a couple of hours ago, but just had a little bit of a look around it. So I asked about the fees. Very good sources, by the way, previous work colleague. Didn't get the exact fees, but they wanted 100% of his wage covered and a massive loan fee. Armstrong wants to come back up north. So I said, it's crazy how they want him out if that's the objective. Obviously, not that they want him out. It might be driven a little bit by Armstrong. He said, or she said, you'd assume so. Message from the Borough source was that they rang Borough. Not sure if that was Saints or player, though. Player makes sense. Move closer to home, etc. So now the reason I'm talking about Borough, everybody, is because Craig Hope today has suggested, and I'll flick it up on screen now, but Craig was the first person to announce this, really, this morning or this afternoon, I think it was, actually. And he's obviously works for I think he's just a freelancer, but he was mentioning he's got the Jaden Dans thing pretty much spot on as well. But he was just mentioning the sort of change around when it comes to what's happened with Armstrong. So Southampton forward Adam Armstrong could leave today. Understand the interest from Leeds and Borough. So I was interested about the Borough side of things. We know Borough is a little bit more around every player under the sun, as Joe Worrell said here. And obviously we know that, Borough are interested in a few more, not just Armstrong, but Borough are not going to pay that fee. We all know that. We're not daft. So interesting. And is that the new development here? And I want to hear what you guys have got to say on this one. Because Jaden Anthony, what? Adam Armstrong. Sorry, my mind just got flicked up somewhere else there. Adam Armstrong. Now, there is another thing as well. LUFC Fan Zone, who's a really good account as well. Very credible. We've seen this as well. Look, we'll try find it now. I might not be able to find it. Hold on. Okay. Some of you guys might like this. Some of you guys might not. But I'll show this up as well for you who aren't maybe on Twitter, who haven't maybe seen this. Here we go. And this is Leeds United grasping on, clutching on straws, I should say. At 4 p.m, a private jet will set off from Leeds to Bournemouth. At 7 p.m, the exact same jet is set to return to LBA, having spent less than an hour at Bournemouth Airport. Bournemouth Airport is less than 30 miles from Southampton. Coincidence? Now, for you aviation dons in the chat, you guys can let me know. But from what we are hearing right now, from what is everywhere on the internet, it doesn't look like Archer's moving on, lads. It doesn't look like Archer's going anywhere. Obviously, we'll get Brownie's take just on this in a couple of minutes. But I want to get your thoughts in the comment section below when it comes to Armstrong. If it is Armstrong, would you take it? Would you take? And don't just say yes because it's a striker. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Yes or no. Now, for me, this is an interesting one. 27 years of age. If he wants to move back up north, he's their main striker, isn't he? He's done well for Southampton. He knocked us out of the playoff contention last year as well. He was a constant thorn in our arses. Armstrong has been for as many years as you can quite remember when he's come up against us. 27 years of age. We'd have to pay a lot for him. Now, what this individual said to me as well, the loan fee is going to have to be big. So he said they've called Borough. They want 100% of his wage covered and a massive loan fee. So I don't know what that would be in terms of the grandeur of that scale. But a massive loan fee makes you think that Leeds aren't going to do it. I just can't see it. And yeah, this is why, Dave. This is why. So yeah, Borough, in my opinion, are not going to be moving on that. I think it's quite unequivocally clear that Borough will not be moving on Adam Armstrong because of the wage structure. But could Leeds? Someone said it to me earlier on. Leeds have brought in X amount when it comes to financials. Why could they not go and do a big deal? Well, maybe there's a little bit more of an upturn here when it comes to Leeds. We've all seen him in the Premier League. We all know what he's about in the Premier League. Would Armstrong be the case? Now, there's 52% of you saying no. I'd be interested. If it is Adam Armstrong, I'd be interested why. Because it was the flip side earlier on when we were doing the morning stream was 59% were saying Archer, yes, which I was quite surprised at. I thought it'd be more like 70, 80, but it was 59% said yes. The rest obviously said no. Quick maths. So yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting one. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Looking at Graham, what's Graham said? Gee, honestly, guys, when you're doing these, it's unbelievable how much you have to keep on. Has Graham just kiboshed anything? Let's have a look what he's saying. As things, there we go. As things stand. There we go. Graham has just done it. He's done a bit of a madness. There we go. As things stand, Leeds United won't be signing Adam Armstrong. Still looking like a quiet deadline day, and then he's followed it up with that. So yeah, I mean it's one of those things, isn't it, guys? I think the Bournemouth bits. I think it's been really good how the club have let the journos in a little bit more. I think this season, I think that's been a development of the 49ers, maybe from last season. And yeah, we're covering the rumors. That's what we're doing today. There's no confirmation or anything like that. Archer, it's not happening. There's no way that's happening in a month of Sundays. Armstrong evidently wants to leave. Evidently, there's something there in terms of him wanting to come back up north. They've siphoned him out to Borough. Borough have said no. They've probably called Leeds as well. That wouldn't surprise me. As I say, the lad who's messaged me said that they've definitely called Borough, 100%. Armstrong's representatives and Southampton, whatever it is, have definitely called Borough, but Borough just can't afford it. So yeah, you'd expect them to have been on the phone to Leeds if Leeds are talking about Cameron Archer. Leeds evidently aren't convinced. Evidently not convinced. And yeah, let's have a quick look at what you guys are saying in the chat in terms of no, 54%. So a lot of you were very much more keen on the Archer sign, and I'd like to get into why, really. Let's have a look. And a lot of you guys were really positive this morning. We had a lot of guys and gals this morning who were very positive about Leeds at the minute. Quite rightly so as well. So, yeah. Lowe says, I'd take Archer over Armstrong right now because they're better than Joseph. Joseph has the potential to be much better, but for now, one of them. Apparently, it's a businessman, makes this trip often. Yeah, imagine the businessman as well, he's just traveling and he's just getting sort of infested with Leeds United fans saying, "Who's this coming up from Bournemouth?" Bailey says he's more of an unbelievable signing. He's proven in the Championship he could play at any position. Still experienced, only 27. Yeah, yes, more. I think there's a good point by Oybab. He's definitely more of the Pookie type. A little bit more agility. Maybe a little bit more athleticism, but definitely more of a Pookie type. Why would Borough do that? Have they not got Ian Acho and still have Latte Lath? Yeah, it was more of a conversation, mate. That's why I was bringing Leeds into it, because they ain't doing that. No way. Imaginary FC, Connor Smith just tweeted 13 minutes ago saying Leeds aren't doing it. Yeah, 100%. We've gone from 3 to maybe 2 to 1 nobody. Could have guaranteed promotion today, but no tumbleweeds. Yeah, and we keep getting this notion, don't we? We keep hearing this when it comes to. I'll tell you what, we'll get this off screen because I think it's pretty unlikely now, isn't it? But we keep getting this conversation, don't we? Everyone of Leeds missing out, and I'm going to get into this with Brownie as well of Leeds missing out and it being, a little bit more problematic than I think personally. And I'd love to know what you guys actually think on this one. We got the morning stream and people were saying in the morning, like, it felt like more 65-35 people were happy. I don't know if now, because we're edging closer, people are getting more frustrated with, Leeds not doing business, which I kind of understand, to be honest with you. Obviously, you've got Sheffield United signing every single player under the sun. You've got Sunderland moving and Adingra as well. Looks like that might happen, which would be interesting to see. Rack up these likes, everybody, as well. We're going to get it shared. Get the likes up for Brownie. Come join me. But yeah, we've got the stream tonight as well, the Borough Sunderland game, so that'll be interesting to touch on as well. Adingra on loan. Yo, bro, hi, mate. I just hope Armstrong doesn't go to promotion rival and do well. I just don't think it'll happen, mate. It just won't. From what the guy said to me, as I say, I'll repeat it one more time. I'm not repeating who it was, but it's a very, very good publication who's very close to it and close to players. He said he didn't get the exact fees, but just said they wanted 100% of his wage covered and a massive loan fee. Message from Borough source was that they rang Borough. So there you go. So maybe that was before the Iheanacho signing. Maybe it was the fact that they knew that Borough were moving in the striker and Armstrong wanted to move closer to home. And potentially it's that sort of thing. Armstrong is look at the final. No signings. Really? Why is that, Jazz? Why is that? Let's have a quick look on what the poll's saying. 52%, 51% of you are saying no, so it's kind of half and half now. The man, we once went for a player who was getting released. 49ers fault again. It's ridiculous we haven't bought a 10 and a keeper. Forget fans, we have a keeper without risks. Fair enough. Jeff says, Low Armstrong, he's a proper 9. Definitely rather have him on our team because he knows how to work Melier for sure. But he will cost us too much right now. We need to get, and that's the thing. It's the long-term thing. We're going on about it this morning, guys, in terms of, is it going to be Armstrong for the Premier League? You can look at that one and think, okay, I understand that. I guess it's just, do you go out and can you recruit like a very, very good striker? Like there's a lot of people talking about Jonathan David, and we were linked with David years ago, and that won't happen right now. But could it be a signing of that ilk who is just ridiculous? And maybe something might come up in the summer where you're looking at it and going, Jesus, what a signing that would be. And we're kind of then lumped with Armstrong or Archer, and you think to yourself, okay, we're not going to do that then. And then the team that we go up with, let's say if it was a Sunderland or a Sheffield United, probably not a Sheffield United now, but if it was a Sunderland, might turn around and go, all right, we'll take him. And you might be looking around as a Leeds fan toward the back end of the window going, well, why can't we? Or back at start of the summer going into the Prem, why can't we sign him? It's like, well, we've just got an obligation on, might be an obligation on Armstrong. Who knows? We don't know. I think that's died in its infancy. But at least Archer, it was this obligation. Leeds have definitely walked away to the obligation, 100%. I'm convinced Saints wanted an obligation. Throughout the day, I've been thinking about it more and more and more. And if Juric is going to be with them and he doesn't like Archer, I'm just convinced that they wanted an obligation and Leeds have gone, look, well, and I'm giving Leeds a bit of the credit here. I've just gone, do you know what? It's mate, we're going to stick with option because option Leeds can make a little bit of a look on him and Leeds can also look again. I'd hope Leeds have just turned around to him and gone, only an option. Because if they've gone right, because it sounds like negotiations have broken down a little bit. So, yeah. Given DF stance on Mez, only actual needs a backup 10 and right centre back. And obviously we've what I will say, everybody, as well, is we've gone into this window and, at the end of the summer, he was kind of saying that they didn't do the business that we kind of wanted. He was speaking a little bit about a number 10. We know that towards the back end of the window. I think that's why it put the jitters up everyone. Everyone was saying, well, he's not getting the players he wants. But this window, he's not said that. This window, he's not mentioned a number 10 specifically. So if he was that bothered about it, I mean, I'll be honest, I think the 49ers might have taken him to the side a little bit and slapped his wrists and said, look, you can't be speaking like that in front of the media, even if he wants it, even if he wants it. You can't. I mean, it's not like he was unequivocally saying the 49ers have done me over. I want a number 10. but he was paraphrasing a little bit. And I think anybody with a brain was reading between the lines and going, oh, I think Daniel Farke wants a number 10 here. And we're all talking about it on the stream and stuff like that. So, yeah, look, yeah, maybe he's been told a little bit in uncertain terms behind closed doors that he can't be saying that to the media. Maybe he still wants a number 10. But he seems to be unequivocally staying with Brendan Aronson there. And I feel like if he wanted number 10, he'd be chopping and changing around a little bit. And he's not doing that right yet. You know, he's been chopping and changing a little bit with the striker, hasn't he? Steve says, hi, Connor. I've been watching since 1920. Never commented, but I'm sure there's plenty of viewers in the same boat. Just a massive thanks for all your work. Oh, cheers, Steve. Thank you, man. Really appreciate that, buddy. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Could have guaranteed... no need for the insults there, Zach. But yeah, as soon as this window is open, I agree, man. I agree. Only 16 games to go. We can manage. Happy with either Archer or Armstrong. Different parties, but can see how they both fit for us. Both much quicker and more energetic than Peru and better finishers. I don't think we're missing out not buying anyone. Love it. The early word was if Farcher isn't possible, the alternate options will be ready. Yeah, 100%, mate. Just like Connor. Yeah, cheers, guys. Make sure you rack that up. Lee says, I think our squad is more than capable. It's just injuries. We're away from a mini crisis. I think the interesting part about the old mini crisis is, like, I guess the injuries would be, what we're saying, everyone, what we're saying, like, Pascal would be a bit of a crisis. Who else? Peru? Yeah, although I'm still convinced, I know you guys are not, but I'm convinced you give Joseph 10 games and I think you've seen a bit of a return consistently. I'm talking starts as well. I don't really know who else. Is Aronson a crisis? And then you look at the other teams. What if Sheffield United had a Michael Cooper injury? Would they have a bit of a crisis? You know, what if they had, you know, I don't know, another Vinny Souza injury? Would that be a little bit of a crisis? I'd probably say it was, to be honest with you. You look at the entire structure of this division right now. Brownhill, if he's injured at Burnley, is that a crisis? I'd say so. He's got the most assists and the most goals for Burnley, so I'd say that was a crisis. Sunderland, Wilson Isidore, so that was a bit of a crisis right now. So across the Championship, you've got crises if certain players are out. Of course you have, but that's life. You know what I mean? That goes all the way to the top pyramid. You know, it's always a crisis when some of your best players are out. Of course it is. But it's about having that rotation, even if it is a little bit of a step down, to be able to compensate for that. Dan says, cheers for your donation, buddy. Do you expect Leeds to a Nottingham Forest when they get promoted in the summer? And when do you think their earliest at Leeds could be announced as champions, Connor? I don't know, mate. I don't know. I hope when we go, yeah. Well, listen, Forest went up and they didn't care about the -2, did they, mate? So PSR doesn't mean anything to certain clubs. But we know if it was Leeds United, won't be getting -2. We'd be getting a -22 dot point tally. So yeah, the big one today is Adingra. If Adingra goes to Sunderland, that's big. And if Tom Watson goes the other way, that is a big one. Cheers for your donation, though, buddy. Really appreciate it. It's saving your pocket money. Yeah, it probably is. Can't reconcile that Farke specifically wanted at least 2 additions. Biggest income on football transfers. We need investment in the squad. I'm just standing by for a contract extension announcement from the club as far as signing. The thing is, have we ever been at this point, do you think? I can't remember a time. And you know, for the guy who's always negative and pessimistic, this must be weird for you guys over the past year, because I've really not been. You know, it's because we've got a little bit more of a structure and a framework at the club now. You can look at certain games. I think that Leeds have got to be performing better, but that doesn't mean you're a negative person. That just means that in-game Leeds can be better. That's constructive criticism. That's like it with anyone with their job. But long-term, I'm happy with Leeds right now. I'm trying to enjoy the journey because I know the destination is going to be minging for a little bit, to be honest. But it's not giving old vibes. Listen, I've been a Leeds fan for a long time now, and my entire life has been Leeds in a horrendous position financially and positionally. We're first in the table with all the metrics going our way. And 5 points clear. So we beat Coventry on Wednesday night. Maybe if Burnley are held again, you're then looking at the points being extended again with not a bad run towards the end of the season. Got a sticky patch, Sunderland and Sheffield United, but bring it on. That's how I look at it. Don't knock Sheffield. They have gained the amount of points as Leeds up to now, and they're significantly stronger. Why are they stronger? What are you talking about? Mate, I appreciate your opinion, but that's waffle. I'd completely disagree with it. Why are they stronger? They're stronger than who? Leeds, or they're just stronger than what they were. Don't knock Sheffield. They've gained the amount of points as Leeds up to now, and are. I think you're saying that they're significantly stronger than what they were. If they gel quickly now, they could run away with the league now. Okay, that's true. If my auntie had a cock, she'd be my uncle. Do you know what I mean? Dean says, don't forget, we've got the dreaded international break coming up in March. You can bet we get 1 or 2 injuries. Oh, my God. That's fair enough. But, okay, what if Sheffield United get 1 or 2 injuries? What if Burnley get 1 or 2 injuries? We can flip this as many ways as we want, really. Do you know what I mean? As many ways as we want. But that's fair enough. Daz says, hi, just finished work. Any transfers coming in, mate? Not right yet, Daz. Not right yet. Shout out to you, my friend. Lee says, smallest squad in the league, but it's also the best. We would not be able to make the squad better with certain quality, but we need backup in certain areas. Yeah. And also, guys, Brownie is coming on. He's coming on in a second. And we'll get his opinion as well, because I'm sure you're all bored of what I'm saying. We've got Oscar coming on later on tonight as well. So you're not just like laden with my opinion. But yeah, smallest squad in the league. Backup, I think for me, is very much like I get it with Strauch. I do look at Aronson, and the reason there's backup for Aronson is because a lot of people say the same thing all the time. There's no 10 backup in our squad. There is 100%. Once again, I have to say this all the time. Emi Buendia has started wide right for Norwich. Pablo Hernandez didn't start as a central attacking midfielder for us. Jorginho Rutter hasn't started out as a central attacking midfielder for us. Brendan Aronson hasn't started as a central attacking midfielder for us. You know, you literally can verge into central attacking midfield from a wide position. Kevin De Bruyne is another one. They're and I've gone right to the very top there. But you can transfer from a wide position into a central position, especially if you play an interchangeable narrow 3 and behind the striker. That can happen. I just cannot understand how that doesn't happen. It makes no sense. Nonto's played in the 10 this season. Ramazani's played in the 10 this season. Solomon has received the ball in that area and defended from that position 80% of this season. They can play in the number 10, so he can rotate. He just doesn't want to rotate, which is fine. He wants to utilize Brendan Aronson in that number 10 position for the off-the-ball work, in my opinion, more than the on-the-ball work. And I think he feels it can be overcompensated by the quality in our side, out wide and potentially up front. So you can play that number 10. So I think he's got rotation in that position. Up front, yeah, look, we can have a conversation. I'm not a massive fan of Peru, although I think Peru brings a lot of attributes, but I don't think that's transferable to the Premier League. But Peru is the second top scorer in the division. So, yeah. And then you got Joseph off the mark at the weekend. So hopefully that's going to be Leeds cashing in a little bit in terms of a little bit more productivity. Only taking what makes us stronger. Jan window, never good. Are we ready for the Premier League? 2 more and we'd be able to. I agree with you, mate. I think, you know, it's a tough market. It's a minging market. The whole narrative of we brought in loads of money. And we, you know, we are not spending. Guys, we've got the most lucrative squad in the division. It's the most lucrative squad in the division. We have an abundance of options. We are paying a lot on wages, and we are paying more money than Burnley, Sheffield United, and Sunderland are. So, to an extent, I think a lot of it's not just about incomings; it's about keeping the squad together as well. And yeah, we've taken in a lot of money, but it doesn't always work like that. It doesn't always work in you take all that money and then use it as profit. It just doesn't work like that. Leeds, I know for a fact, Leeds are still paying massive installments on previous players that have come in. I think we only got rid of the Dan James installments in the summer months. That's what I'm talking about right now. So yeah, Leeds are in the green, and we are in the green, but I think they're trying to pre-plan here as well. Imagine if we went into the summer and we got to the Premier League and we spent an absolute ton. How much better would we be all feeling right now? Because I'm sure they're going to be looking at teams like Ipswich, and they're going to be looking at teams probably a little bit further up, like Bournemouth, etc., etc. And they're going to be thinking, how do we make that framework? How do we get that structure? Well, maybe if we save now and then we go into that summer month with a lot of money, with a lot of pot, and there's more options there. Who knows? Hold on a sec. Right, okay, let's have a quick look at what you guys are saying as well. Brownie's in the building as well, everybody. Let's have a look. What's Ornstein saying? Hold on, Brownie, I can see you in the corner, mate. Hold on, I'm coming. Pause. Okay, Sunderland have gone for Jesus. Sunderland are trying, aren't they? Leicester have rejected an approach from Sunderland for midfielder Casey McAteer. Sunderland presenting an offer of a loan with an obligation to buy for 8 million, rising to 10 with add-ons. Yeah, Sunderland are trying, aren't they? Sunderland are really trying here, flipping it. Right, okay, without any further ado, the man with the action plan, the man who's going to bring a little bit of normality to this stream, hopefully. It's DB. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You?
Not bad, mate. I'm trying to calm the passions. I'm trying to calm the storms. Suddenly, I've turned into a positive Leeds fan. Apparently,
deadline day on, or as Leeds fans call it, Monday.
How you doing, mate? What's the vibe?
Good. Touching on that with the Sunderland bid, they're losing a player, aren't they, as well?
Yeah, Tom Watson.
Tom Watson, that's the guy. I was just looking at their team sheet trying to find him. Yeah, he's apparently, where's he going?
Brighton.
Brighton, that's it, yeah. So 1 in, 1 out for them. But yeah, how can none of us be positive? How can none of us be positive?
Do you want to touch on the weekend first? Obviously, yeah, this time I was there for it, which is great. But not a bad one to make out from it. Adingra deal is off as well, which is good. You know, because that was a big one that from Brighton. So Watson and Adingra, I don't think they're exchanging now, which is good news. But mate, at the weekend, unbelievable 7 heaven for Leeds United. Cardiff not being beaten in 8 games, not bad, eh?
No, it was very good. It just typical Leeds United coming towards the end of a deadline window, and everybody decides to turn up, don't they? Everything just seemed to fit perfectly. The only thing that annoyed me was Ramazani missing that chance late on, because then every single forward player would have scored, which is unheard of. You'd have had Pirro, Aronson, Joseph, Nonto, James, Solomon, and Ramazani, so it would have just been the icing on top of the cake, but can't grumble too much. I mean, we had Aronson doing something. We had Meslier making saves. It was like we were in a parallel universe. Everything just seemed to align. But I think that's been the story of the season, in particular Ellen Road. We've just been in control of literally every game. And unfortunately for Cardiff, they were on the wrong end of an absolute drubbing.
Yeah, they were, mate. Battered. All ends up, and I think it's the highest XG or the second highest XG recorded in the last 5 years over Europe. I think PSG were the first one, which is pretty unbelievable, to be honest with you. Sends a bit of a message going into Coventry, doesn't it? And it's going to be, obviously, won't get into it too much, mate, but it's going to be a blockbuster in it. Lampard 5 wins on the bounce, Leeds reuniting with our favourite manager, and it's going to be a big.
Matt Grimes chucked in there just for laughs.
Grimes in there, just in there, yeah.
Yeah, I seen a picture yesterday on social media of last 8 games, and there's only Coventry are second in that points taken. There's only us above them in points taken over the last 8 games. So it seems to be the way they're going. But I was with my brother last night, and like he said, he couldn't care less who were playing. Cardiff were unbeaten since Boxing Day, and they looked like they'd not won since Boxing Day, or we made them look like that. But yeah, I think it'll be a different kettle of fish. Coventry, we've put ourselves in a position now, 63 points, 10 wins from 16 gets us to 93. So take a couple of draws, 94, 95. I mean, we've only lost 3. We've lost 3 games in 31 games of football. So when you're looking at that 10 from 16 sort of like statistic, you can afford to lose 6 games if you win 10 out of 16, which...
Jasbo, you need a day off, mate. he's not happy with Leeds at the minute. Jasbo, I'm trying not to. I can disagree with what you say, mate.
I'd like to see where Jasbo's coming from with that, because when you say it's not a one-off,
I'd like to see where he's coming from. I just don't think he's confident, mate. Is he? It's fair play, but yeah, I don't know.
We've not lost at home since we've lost 1 game at home in 40. We won 13 out of 14 home games.
Let me put this to you. Right, I'm getting the narrative from maybe some people who aren't happy, which is fair. Look, it is what it is. But I've just mentioned that, and I just want to see if you align with this. You might or you might not. right, if Leeds are to lose Stroud, Leeds are to lose Peru, Leeds are to lose blah, 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 then we might struggle. Where I'm coming over with this is Burnley lose Brownhill, Sunderland lose Wilson Isidore, Sheffield United lose Vinicius Souza for another part of the season. They're in trouble as well. We've got March international break, which someone, fair play, just said in the comment section, Leeds are going to go away and lose 2 or 3 players. Well, what if Sheffield United and Sunderland and Brownhill and Burnley have a few injuries as well? I just think it is the hysteria at the minute.
Well, Brownhill, there's people pushing for Brownhill, aren't there? I saw yesterday.
Yeah. Do you not just think it's maybe just worry from it's almost superstition and worry from previous seasons? But what I'll say is what I'll say, everyone in the chat, Brownie as well. Like, we've never been top. I can't remember being top and being 5 points clear. Going into February. With 16 games left. I can't remember that, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Jasbo meant in terms of 7-0. Obviously, that is a one-off.
Yeah, of course.
Anomaly, and that obviously didn't happen for 50-odd years. When I was on about the home form, I meant we've lost 1. Obviously, we have had draws in there. Off the top of my head, Portsmouth was a draw. Blackburn, yeah. Can't think of any others, though. So 1 defeat in 40. Is it 40? Honestly, I don't know. We've had 1 defeat at home, and it just seems every game we've played, other than West Brom away at the start of the season, I felt like we should have won every game.
This is a very used stat. This.
Win the 7 home games, and we can draw the 9 away games and still go up. So what's 7, 20, 21 plus 9 for 7? Win 7 home games, yeah. Another 21 points. That's 84. You've then got 9 games to play about with. Do what you want with. That's the position we've put ourselves in. We've got the 5-point cushion now. Well, effectively 6, because our goal difference is absolutely ridiculous. Plus 41. I've never seen anything like it at this stage of the season. I know when you say about from previous seasons about is there a nervousness, it'd have to be the biggest Leeds United downfall we've ever seen for us not to get promoted from this position.
That'd be me done. Just so you know, I've told you this before.
And it's not just Leeds. I mean,
Indeed, getting on Indeed, Brownie. You can employ me somewhere.
We've got, when we say that 10 wins from 16, if we won 10 from 16, that would mean Burnley would have to win 12 out of 16. This is a team that have drawn 10-0. I don't see Burnley winning 12 out of 16. So, but yeah, it'd be very Leeds United. But I just, with this group of players, what's coming off the bench in games, the rotation that we can do, our second string would probably give Sheffield United and Burnley a game. I genuinely believe that. If you were to put Nonto and Ramazani instead of James and Solomon, you'd be able to put Ampadu. Well, what was the bench at the weekend? Gruev. You've got Gruev, Tanaka, Ampadu, Rothwell.
Brownie Schmidt didn't make it. Schmidt didn't
play 2 of them.
Yeah.
We'd probably be a little bit light at centre back, with a second string team. Yeah. But you've got Byram or Firpo. I genuinely believe our second string would be in a promotion battle, and that's why we said right at the start of the season, if we were not to go up, it'd be an utter failure. Which is probably why Farke's under the most pressure of any manager this season. That squad has to go up. And then, I mean, people in the comments would probably be able to tell me better what's happened in the last hour because I've been driving. But you chuck in a Adam Armstrong or a Cameron Archer on top of that. My God. And I still do get, and we had this debate the other night about the Melier situation. But there's games of football that Leeds playing where he generally doesn't have to do anything. Cardiff's XG was 0.05. You could have put a gnome in net on Saturday. Like, genuinely, he made a good save, to be fair to him. I thought he dived past it at one point, but he made a save. Honestly, I don't see.
I think we've got him in there, and I think he is the only thing that's keeping it equal right now. He's the only thing. I think that and I don't think, like you said, I agree with you. I think the majority of the time, we've got so much of the ball in the attacking third. We've got so much of the ball in general. We dominate so many games that, it's not getting close to him. Genuinely, that's what it is. I think without that, without him, we are flying. I think if we didn't have him in net, we'd be promoted by late March, early April. Genuinely.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it for quite a few weeks now. Come the end of February, if there's any form of gap from Leeds and the rest, it's done. Yeah, because we'll have played Sunderland, we'll have played Sheffield United, we'll have played West Brom, who I think are beatable now. Since Carlos Carbaran's gone, that'll probably come back to bite me.
Now, a bit of news here, bit of news as well. I think it was, it was the man with no name has said, Connor, please explain to you subscribers. West Brom keeper has gone to Ipswich, 2 million. Why haven't we gone in for him? Yeah, Palmer. Yeah, one of the top keepers last couple of years. Built by Corberan, strong at the back. Look, it is what it is. 2 million. So we've seen Johansson go for 1 million, Michael Cooper for 2, Palmer go for 2 million. Apparently, none of these keepers are better than Ilan Bellet and can't transition into the Premier League. Yeah, it's baffling. But there we go. It's another example. DV4 says Celtic after Brownhill.
I don't want to put misinformation out there, but there was definitely yesterday from a good source a Premier League team in for him. Can't remember which team it was.
Choking guess.
There was a lot of talk about Brownhill in the summer transfer window as well, like up until the end of the deadline. So I think it'd be a huge loss to them if they lost him at this stage.
Michael says, while I would like to see 1 or 2 in today, it's more important that anyone we get in is Prem ready. We don't need to waste time. Let's have a chat about that, shall we? Because that's kind of what
bang on the money.
That's what we've been having a chat about today. So let's get your thoughts on Archer and Armstrong. I wanted to get your thoughts on it. So Adam Armstrong, experience in the Premier League, probably a little bit more adaptable with what we've seen. Archer, 6 goals in 60 up there, hasn't been part of a great team, Brownie, but who's to say he's going to be part of a great team going up again? We're going to struggle in the first year or two, maybe 2 or 3 years if we do stay up. It's going to be a struggle for Leeds. He's not going to be getting a mass amount of goals. I think it's key to look at the adaptability from the Championship to the Premier League. He's never really made it. He's probably in that middle bracket. We know how big that chasm is between the 2 divisions. Armstrong at least has probably done it a little bit more consistently, albeit not to a massive level. Is it more sensible for Leeds to just wait on a little bit? You look at Sheffield United right now with Tom Cannon; they've sort of got an obligation right now to play him and definitely play him in the Premier League when it comes to negotiation between obviously his parent club in Sheffield United. Leeds, do you think it'd be more advantageous for us to wait until that summer window and then press the button?
Yeah, and I think we spoke about this the other day. Is it a gamble? Of course, because we aren't promoted yet, so nobody can say what's going to happen in the next 16 games. But it does have that feel that whether we sign anybody today or not, this squad goes up. Would we prefer to have more money in the summer than an obligation of 15, 20 million for a striker who's not done it in the Premier League yet? Definitely. So on the 2, I've liked Adam Armstrong for a long time. His movement's ridiculous as a forward.
Yeah, I think I was edging towards Armstrong over Archer, to be honest.
He scored against us in the playoff final. Scored against us at Element. He just, if it's just a straight loan, I think I'm more bringing Adam Armstrong than coming Archer, which is interesting because it seems like Southampton are more reluctant to let Archer go than Armstrong. So it's an interesting one, but either one of them, would I be overly hammered paying 15, 20 million for an obligation? Probably not. Purely because of that, neither one of them have really hit the ground running in the Premier League, but they've been playing for teams who have been absolute cannon fodder, getting absolutely battered every week, left, right. I mean, Southampton won 9 points in February.
I think the thing is, you'd hope that Leeds can recruit Brownie, but there's no guarantee that we don't go up and just get drilled ourselves most weeks as well. It's no guarantee. We know what that level's like, mate. Well, let's hope that doesn't happen. But we've said before, haven't we, mate, that recruitment's got to be spot on. You can't miss a beat.
And that form of thinking goes back to the goalkeeper as well. I mean, Ipswich have just built a team for the Championship. Do you know what I mean? The signings they've made, Smodic, Clark, the keeper, all their signings seem to be of a, right, well, if we go down, we're strong in the Championship, sort of. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if Leeds go up, would we be happy with that keeper in the Premier League? Or would we be looking we be looking to spend more money on a goalkeeper?
Well, that's kind of why I've said Johansson, mate. Because and I've spoken about Johansson to you as well. I think there's at least a little bit of long-termness with that one. I'm just, as I say, I'm not completely enamored at this moment in time, and I understand why people are a little bit upset with Ilan Mele right now. He's just keeping the other teams in it, so let's just keep the ball away from him. Steve's just become a new member. Shout out to you, but Lucas says Jan signings don't win you the league. They may help, but it doesn't guarantee you anything. Bielsa promotion season, our only additions in Jan was JKA. I mean, he's the one who kind of like makes you jitter a little bit when it comes to that obligation, Brownie. I think Leeds, it's the JKA stuff.
The other thing on this, and people have more know-how than me, I ain't a clue. I'm desperate for that window to close and Manor Solomon still be at Leeds. I don't know if he's got a recall option or what, but
I think what's his name? G'day, mate. What's his name? Postecoglou. He said that he's not.
Where's he from?
G'day, mate.
He said what? Sorry.
He said he said, right, mate. Oh, he's not. Solomon's not coming back, mate. No, mate. He's not coming back. That's what he said.
That's some good news.
Rang him the other day. Let's not build a championship team. We need top players. Not sure why anyone is really surprised, says Edith. January is notoriously like this for us. Never want to hear we are staying awake again. Been sleeping like a log the whole time. Yeah, I guess that's the whole thing, Brownie. They just need to. For me, it was quiet, and me and you were doing stuff like this, and it was quiet, and that was fine. But it's when you start hearing the murmurs from Graham, from Popey, from all that they're staying away, and I get it. It's opportunistic. I understand that. But sometimes you kind of, if they're not going to do anything, they're not going to do anything, and we'll all buy into that. It's as soon as you hear the Archer stuff, then the whole fan base starts to perk up.
I mean, I've seen Sheffield United linked with Clark. Is it Clark, the defender from QPR?
Oh, he's there. Yeah, signed him. They signed him.
I mean, if that was us today, are we just happy because we made a signing, or are we thinking, what on earth's going on? Do you know what I mean? So there's making signings, and there's just, I mean, is Clark, I mean, I might be doing him a proper disservice, but is he playing in the Premier League next year for Sheffield United? They seem so short-sighted with their signings this season. It's almost a desperation to get in the Premier League, to be battered every week again, to go back down.
I agree. I mean, a lot of it's loan signings in it. Do you think that plays a little bit of a part for Sheffield? Maybe.
I mean, there was a tweet today came out, and it could be absolute nonsense. It probably is. But the latest 2 people are after has been done by data and AI. What?
Someone needs to clip that
up. I'll try and find it. It could be a while, mate.
I was responding. Who would you get as a number 9 next season if we're in the Prem? ChatGPT FC. Bottom 3 in the Prem at the moment are the 3 that went up. We will need to spend way over 100 million to have any hope of making an impact in the Premier League. Realist says, I would rather overpay for a loan fee than sign a player who's only useful. I would rather overpay for a loan fee than sign a player who's only useful for 6 months and nowhere near Prem level, and he's stuck on a 4 or 5 year contract being lower. Yeah, what I was thinking is, if it's an option, Brownie, if it's an option to sign him, I'm a little bit more on board with doing your Archers and your Armstrongs. If it's an option, I don't want I think an obligations, it's too strong. And if I'm Southampton, I think that's what they're going for. I think they're going for an obligation, which is why I think Leeds have walked away, to be honest.
Here it is. And I even saw the players' names, and they look like, again, I don't want to sound derogatory, but it looked like they were playing Countdown with letters. But yeah, it's the Bladesmen who have quoted Danny Hall 04. Sheffield United are closing in on a shock double signing with medicals arranged for 2 wingers flying in from abroad. The unnamed pair have been identified using the new owner's AI model. What have they become? iRobot? Like what? And this is what I mean. So there's.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, I just thought you were. I thought you were about
No,
to make
I
a big
thought my
point
mic had gone off. I thought the mic had gone off. Or the robots had got into the system. But yeah, I think it's the signings we're looking for seem to be more long term than just being short term, and I think that's purely because of the depth of our squad. Like you said, you hit the nail on the head the other night. All of the 23 teams in this league would snap your hand off at the squad we've got, with or without a signing.
I don't think I wouldn't take any of them. I wouldn't take any of their signings. I think that's a big indictment. You look at Harry Clark, formerly of Ipswich last season. They were trying to get John Joe Kenny, and that's not worked. Obviously, Harry Suter going back. They didn't want to go into the market again. They've had to go for another long-term sign. Apparently, they're looking at Rob Holding right now. And then obviously you're moving forward a little bit. I think I've just mentioned Chowdhury. Ben Brereton Diaz, I think, is an all right signing for the Championship. It's not a signing for the Premier League for me. Tom Cannon, the jury's out. The jury's out for that one. So yeah, when people are getting a little bit skew whiff maybe about the Sheffield United signings, it feels, the only reason I'm mentioning Sheff U is because it feels like people are talking about Sheff U a little bit more, probably because of the volume of signings. I actually think Burnley have made a really good signing in Marcus Edwards Brownie. I think that's a really good signing. He's going to be one to keep an eye on. Obviously, they've got Manuel Benson coming back from injury as well. But Sunderland, I think Sunderland are going to be the one who are probably going to make some sort of big splash with about 6 or 7 hours left.
They're in a position that they didn't think they'd find themselves in, aren't
they? Yeah.
So they're probably seeing this as a, do you know what, go for it type of opportunity. We don't know when we might get this opportunity again. But in terms of I've seen a few Liverpool fans doing similar things because they have not signed anyone in January, really. The top of the Premier League by 6 points, blowing everybody away that comes in their path.
And we've said this before.
Is it just a fan thing? Is it just a fan
Brownie,
thing?
But you've managed professional football teams, right? You've been part of changing rooms. I've been part of changing rooms as well. And when you get a flux of players coming in, no matter what nice lads they are, it can go one or two ways. They can blow you on, and you can do incredibly well. But when you bring in a flux of players, it can be a little bit like the original players can be turning around going, oh, hold on, what's happening here? And there's not a guarantee that those players are going to fit and really get on and form partnerships and, have that cohesive nature with the changing rooms that maybe, you would have expected.
Definitely. I mean, there's, I think Graham Potter was saying it in an interview through the week. You don't just sign players in this day and age, you sign people. Brian Clough was a big advocate for that. And that's going back 40 years. Like, ability is one thing, but you've got to be the right person to fit into that sort of dressing room. And you've seen clubs in the Premier League just sign the team from over the hill that we shall not name, just signing unnecessarily players just for the sake of went and spent 80 million on Anthony. Didn't need a winger, but went and spent 80 million on Anthony. And they're not. You've got to be signing what you need rather than just making a signing. And I don't mind. I know the 49ers will take a bit of flack, but I think the business we have done over the last 18, 24 months, the players we've signed, I can't think of one bad one. Ooh, I can't think of a signing recently in the last 2 years that's turned out bad.
Oh, good question. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah.
I'm just going over the last year and a half, 2 years. I genuinely can't think of a bad signing they've made. Whereas if you go back 5 or 6, I remember doing a show with you, and we went through all Victor Orta's signings.
Oh yeah.
I remember, and there was about 70% bad.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? When you throw enough darts at a wall, it's going to hit one of them's going to hit the board, and that's what it felt like with Victor Orta, the scattergun approach. Genuinely, under the 49ers, I can't think of one that's turned out. Do you put Connor Roberts and Spence into it? They were loan signings. I mean, permanent signings that were at our club.
Yeah, but Spence is getting man of the matches and absolutely battered Tottenham defence, so it can't have been that bad a signing.
No, I agree. But I just meant, like, look at the Tanaka situation. Everything just seems to have worked. So if they want to take the time and get what they need, then do it. But will I be unhappy if it comes to 11 and we've made no signings? No, because the only reason Leeds don't go up this season, it's nothing to do with signings today. It'd be an absolute capitulation would be the reason.
One from Matt. Hey lads, how many players does Brownie see as Premier League players? I went for, I'll tell you mine. Rodon, Strauch, Tanaka, Ampadu, Ramazani, Nonso. That's probably it. I think I had a 7th one in there somewhere. Who's my 7th one? I had a 7th one.
Gurev?
No, I don't think so.
Who would I be comfortable playing in the Premier League? Yeah, Rodon, Ampadu, Strike.
Bogle. Bogle was the other one.
Bogle. I think he'd get exposed a lot more. I don't think we'd have to do a lot more defending in the Premier League. So that'd be one to watch. A bit like Firpo. Firpo's looked like Roberto Carlos in the Championship, but in the Premier League, he looked like Carlos Alcaraz, a tennis player. Just didn't know whether he just got the quality is just so much better in the Premier League, isn't it? What 1v1 situations, he were walking yellow card for about 9 months. So Bogle will be an interesting one. He will play. I don't think they'll go and buy another right back, but he'd be one to. I think he's been excellent, by the way. I'm not slagging him off. I'm just saying wide players in the Premier League are a lot better than facing El Ghazi at Cardiff. Midfield, Tanaka's looked so cool. Be interesting to see if we sign Rothwell permanently. Obviously, he's only a loan signing, but again, another good signing that we've made. Nonto, Ramazani. I'd throw James in there. I would. Piro's never played in the Premier League, I don't think. Be interesting.
It's about the same, innit? About 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah. Right, we're getting to a few comments.
Which is probably why we need a boatload of money come the summer.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, squad needs massive investment. Tom says, good show, gents. 100% agree. If we don't go up with the squad, then the blame lies with Farker. 2 seasons in a row with the best squad in the league is do you know what I'll say, Tom? I was very much like towards the back end of the season, I was having a go at him a little bit because 3 wins in 11 with that squad weren't good enough because you were coming up against some dross in this division, and that wasn't good enough. But the only thing I gave him was the first part of the season, of which it was very tumultuous and he calmed it down a lot. So that's what I will say. So this season, I'm looking at him a hell of a lot more. And what I will say as well is I don't think we had the best squad in the division last season. I think there was 2 squads better than Leeds' last season. I think this season we do have the best squad. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I think Leicester last year's squad.
Yeah. Leicester's the best squad I think I've ever seen. Championship. That and Newcastle, I think, is the best squad I've ever seen.
It's interesting what you said about Fark there, because if you think about what's been sold from underneath him in the last 2 years, what he's lost: Gray, Rutter, Somerville, Kamara, who was a mainstay in the team. I think he's done a fantastic job. I really do. I get why people can be frustrated with him, but at the end of the day,
I'll say he's done a fantastic job if we get promoted, because you've said as well, if he didn't get promoted, he's failed.
Yeah, he has. Absolutely. Yeah. But
that's his objective, isn't it, Brownie? FFS
how
says
many players sides have signed. No. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, some interesting ones here as well. I've got the last 3. I've highlighted them, and I think this is probably going to spark off a bit of controversy between me and you, and probably a little bit, not between me and you, as in our reactions. Gaffer wants a 10, Connor. I'd be interested to know where that's come from. Maybe in the summer. He was kind of insinuating it, but it's gone quite quiet since then. I sort of thought to myself that maybe it's him getting a bit of a slap on the wrist by the 49ers and them just saying, shut up.
How do we know that Mrs. Fark isn't a 10?
Yeah. Hey, we all like 10s. You are a 10, by the way, Mrs. McGilligan. Don't worry.
Some would say an 11. Connor, some would say an 11. You got to be nice.
Some would. You can't tell me there's no players out there that can't strengthen this team in Jan. What a load of crap.
Well, then I'm gonna. Do you know what? Go on, Gavin. or James, if that's your name. Who?
That is your real name. Yeah. Let us know who. I think the goalkeeper we can have conversations at. But if you're what I want you to tell us there, mate,
Don't be
is
saying Neuer or anything like that.
Starting
Realistic.
11. Yeah, starting 11 because we know that they're only bringing players in to improve Leeds United right now. Who are they? If goalkeeper, completely get. But if you're talking outfield, I think we need to know.
Just going to put 50p in the meter, Connor.
All right, mate. Soul Surfer says, if we don't go up, don't blame Farker now. He's made it clear what he needs. So if we don't go up, you've made your bed and the squad will be decimated next season. That's my French.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, something we said in the summer. This squad don't go up, it gets ripped apart, and we're in the Championship for a good 5 years.
Yeah. If we don't go up, don't blame Farker now. He's made it clear what he needs. So if we don't go up, you've made your bed and the squad will be decimated next season. I disagree with that. And we come back to the squad depth, of which me and Brownie were talking about earlier on, and how they've balanced the squad and how many options we've got in every single position. So yeah, no, we're top of the division right now. So is he overperforming now? No, I don't think he is. I think he's doing a good job. The squad's made up for him, and it's just two things working in tandem right now. I don't think there's a problem right there. But yeah, if we don't go up, don't blame Farker now. Well, don't be coming on this channel then. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. It's a really good point from what Ryan said there. If there was no such thing as a transfer window, would we all be worried right now? Or would we still be doing the conga from the 7-0 at the weekend, top of the league? Do you know what I mean? So is it a desperation just for the old saying of a shiny new toy? Or do people genuinely feel that we can improve this team in the Championship?
Yeah.
On the back of it, do you know when we go back to Armstrong and Archer?
Yeah.
When you go on loan to play. You saw the Connor Roberts situation last year. Who's coming thinking, do you know what, I'm going to play in that team?
Yeah.
We didn't get Carvalho last year. He went to Hull because of the same situation. I know Pirot gets his stick and critics. He's on 12 goals. Quite easily going to end up with 20 goals this season. And he's had a poor season in people's eyes. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Mikey says for the 10, Azaz or the lad from Watford. If you're about Chad Fatadze, mate, he's going to the Premier League. Apparently, there's already been conversations with him in Crystal Palace. He's the only player I've seen. Do you remember him, Brownie, the 8 in the middle who came to Owen Road, and he's the only one I've seen who's actually come to our stadium and given Tanaka a few problems in that second half. He was absolutely excellent, and he ain't staying in the Championship. I mean, look, we can look at that in the summer. But you can't go to Watford right now and say, oh, we'll take him off you unless you. I mean, Watford will get 15, 20 million for him. 15, 20 million in the summer for him. Finn Azaz, 10 million quid right now. You've got the Leeds tax when it's Borough. He's their best player. And then the whole conversation back to that right now is, oh, well, you know, if you don't show ambition, then you don't go up. Well, first in the division,
it's a brave thing to say because of what's happened in previous. But if Sunderland don't win tonight, I think it's a 3-horse race. I couldn't care less what they do. 8 points, not turning it around.
Yeah.
Sunderland have to go to Borough and win tonight, which is no easy feat for them. Am I right?
I get what people are saying. I get like what Mikey's saying. I understand it. I've said to you plenty of times, I think we've got multiple players who can play in the 10. People don't think that because they've not seen it, but that doesn't mean that it can't happen. I think we've got multiple players who can play in that 10. And he can go to a front 2. He's got the options to go to a front 2 if he wants to do that as well. I just think he's got so many options.
I know it was 5-0 at the time and Cardiff couldn't lay a glove on us. I thought Pirot was so good when he moved back into the 10 at the weekend.
Yeah, he was better, wasn't he?
He was so good. And it's easy to play football 5-0 when you're doing the LAs. But honestly, he was so composed and calm on the ball. It worked.
Yeah. Finn says, Leeds should have signed Gyökeres, feeling on the Cov game, most informed team, looking for another CBS win against Leeds, PUSB.
Gyökeres, I'd like to know at what point he went to Sporting Lisbon. I'm not sure we can compete with Sporting Lisbon whilst we're in the Championship. Are you talking 6 months, 12 months before that happened? Feelings on the Cov game. Be tough.
Yeah, it will.
It will be tough. Every away game's tough. We've said this so many times. Every away game for Leeds is a cup final because it's their biggest game of the season. No matter
Cobble sell, they'll sell nigh on the stadium out for Leeds. We know that's happening.
Yeah, absolutely. Over the last 8 games, they've took 17 points out of 8 games played. We've took 18. They've took more points than anybody else in the last 8 matches. So, yeah, absolutely tough. Would I take a point? I'll tell you after 80 minutes if we're winning or not. And then if we're losing, yeah, I'd absolutely take your point. I fancy Leeds to beat any team in this league.
Yeah, Finn, don't get cocky, mate. You got absolutely annihilated at the start of the season, mate. You're not that far away from that. If we're in first gear, mate, you won't touch the ball. That's if we are in first gear. But it's Leeds away from home, so you never know. So it'll definitely be a good game, mate. Is that what it is? Coventry Building Society. Interesting. We have 10s, Connor, Nonto, Solomon, Largy, Peru, Rothwell, Tanaka could all do a job. Yep. That's my sort of thinking, mate. Dave says
here's an interesting one for you as well, just before you go on to that. So the bench at the weekend, let's get it up. Byram, Nonto, Gruev, Giavogi, Joseph, Ramazani, Strike, Verba. If you're bringing a player in, who are you taking off that bench?
Yeah, because someone has to go, don't they? Someone has to go. So you're keeping the keeper. The keeper's staying. Schmidt's already off the bench.
Yeah.
Let's get it up. So this is obviously Leeds' bench at the weekend. We mentioned this earlier on, Brownie.
Just the only player missing is Bamford. I mean,
so we mentioned this earlier on. Shout out to Dave as well. I just think if we spend unnecessary money now, get promoted, we'll have to upgrade the squad massively. The same, and also, who's to say that the player that we bring in now, Brownie, flops? Then what? You know, if they flop towards the back end of the season,
well,
then what
normally when you're getting a player on loan, you're getting a player on loan who hasn't been playing football.
Yeah.
So that's also enough. So you're talking Armstrong and Archer straight away. People might tell me I'm wrong, but have they been playing week in, week out for Southampton? If they have, I can't understand why they let him go in the first place. Look at the Connor Roberts thing last year. Wasn't playing, came to us, couldn't really get in the team. But yeah, on the substitute thing, probably the standout one would probably be Giavogi.
What to drop?
I mean, well, who else would you drop off that?
I think you make a really good point. I think if you're bringing in someone on the bench,
because we're asking for, in fact, forget Giavogi because that's a completely. You wouldn't. We're asking to bring in an attacking player. So you would not load your bench with 6 attackers. You need cover.
Of course you would. You need cover.
Areas. So if you're bringing in an attacking player, it would be one of, although you have got 3 defensive players on there with Verba, Strike and Giavogi, so you probably might get away with it. But that does, if you're bringing in an Archer or an Armstrong or anybody that people have mentioned, that's stifling the time for Nonto, Ramazani or Joseph.
And also, it depends what striker you bring in as well, doesn't it? Brings what striker you bring in. It depends what striker you bring in. And
I stand by it. I stand by it. Looking at that bench, I stand by it. If you were to put a second string team, we would have 2 teams in the top 6.
Yeah, I agree. Mikey, again, who is continuing to disagree with us. It's fair enough.
That's fine. Football's a game of opinion.
Mikey, that's fine. Depends who you bring in. Bring a striker in and Joseph drops out. A big 10. A 10. A big Josh drops out. It's not hard, guys. But I don't think he's going to drop Josh. We brought him in as a free transfer very, very recently, and I think Farker brings him on in certain games, and you see that he's consistent with it. Even if Gruev comes on, he likes bringing Giavogi on when it comes to control. He enjoys it. Says it back, and there'll be an agreement there as well with Giavogi. I don't think he'll drop out the squad. That seems unequivocally harsh. Joseph,
well, I don't follow the logic. Why would a 10 make Josh drop out?
So he's saying that a number 10 comes in and Giavogi drops out the squad.
Yeah, but that's my point though. But then you would have Ramazani, Joseph, Nonto,
a 10.
A 10.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot on the bench. And then obviously you bring it, if a strike comes in and Joseph drops out, well, Joseph's not going anywhere in the next 7 or 8 hours. So that would be an absolute turn in terms of transfers. And does Joseph deserve to be bombed out the squad?
The other thing you got to think about as well is Strike's
Sure.
not going to be on that bench for much longer. He's going to come back into the team, which then pushes
That's true.
Ampadu into midfield. So then you're
Mhm.
going to have a Rothwell or Tanaka sat on that bench as well. So
Yeah.
you're probably right. Giovanni probably would be the one to drop out because then you couldn't leave Verba out because you'd have no other defender up centre because you're not putting Byram centre back.
Yeah, true.
So Giovanni probably would be the one.
Yeah. Gilavoggi, yeah, he could be right, to be fair. Fair point, Mikey. He says you had a Byron, Verba, and Gruev as options there, defensive-wise. Yeah, I'm not 100%. I'm not 100% sure I'd be bombing Joseph out. That's just me. Sunderland have signed striker Jane Dance from Liverpool on loan. Gilavoggi is only really for the dressing room, in my opinion. Yeah, I did think that. Got my eyes on you, Mikey. John says, "Icon, loving the channel. Can we discuss the goalkeeper? Who do we want between the sticks instead of Mez? We've decided, mate. Brownie's going in between the sticks. I reckon he'll have a better save percentage."
Hang on, there's someone walking the dog here. I'll see if they can do it. Someone just walked past me.
100%. Yeah, fair play to Burnley who signed that Marcus Edwards. But yeah, it feels like it's at the moment, mate. It feels like it's pretty dead in the water, doesn't it? When it comes to signings.
It's been a good couple of hours since I've checked the old social media. Has anything come to light? Can anybody say that anything's happened or
not yet? Do you think? I mean, Nida said the same thing here, Brownie. I mean, I've mentioned this several times. I think this is why I get, like, once again, that word unequivocally annoyed at people saying we can't do a 10, or it doesn't work with a 10. Arison gets injured. Solomon, Rothwell, and Nonto can all play there. I'm not sure on Rothwell, but definitely Nonto. We saw him against Sheffield Wednesday in the 10. Sheffield United. That was Ramazani's role in that number 10 for me. Solomon can play there.
this is going to surprise you because I'm not a big Aronson fan. Right, that 10 role, it isn't all glamour and riches and threading through balls and attacking. The player that plays in the 10, and I learnt this when I kind of lost a yard of pace and had to move back a little bit into the 10. You have to be so disciplined off the ball in that 10. Now, in the last 15, 20 minutes of games, yeah, Nonto's brilliant when he's running here, there, and everywhere. I'd be really worried about his discipline in the 10 right from the off. I think he'd just go wandering. And that's not a knock on him. He's just that kind of flamboyant attacking player. I think in the 10, you need to have so much pitch nous and pitch geography of where to be defensively, not to leave ourselves so wide open. At home, it's probably a little bit different because we've got so much of the ball. We're not really doing much defending. Again, it's that away from home. If Nonto was in the 10, would people be over ecstatic when he's popping up here, there, and everywhere, and then they're cutting through our midfield? I think people would quickly realise how important that 10 needs to be disciplined. So that's the only bit I'd say on that I don't think, and I'd throw Ramazani in there as well. I'm not sure they'd be the most disciplined in there. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to explain.
No, it does. It definitely does. It definitely does. And that's why obviously we come on here, mate. I think Ramazani, for me, I think the stat is he's got something like, I saw it on FootMob anyway, that he's got one of the highest recovery rates in the attacking third. I think his pressing is pretty impressive. He makes a lot of fouls, does he, in that attacking third, but I think he could transition in there well, to be honest with you. I think
on that, it's a little bit, and I would like to see it, but it's a little bit different doing it on wing when you've only got a narrow corridor of pitch than in a 10 when you've got the whole width of the pitch to cover. It's a hard job, but away from home, and people probably won't like the sound of this because they'll think it's boring. A bit like we did in the playoff semi. Rothwell, Tanaka, Ampadu as a free sound.
Yeah. I think that works. Nicholas says Arison plays with pressing off the ball, not his creativity on the ball. That's right.
I think right. I'm kind of with that. Yeah, I think Bark really likes the discipline of him being in there. He's always there, isn't he? Whereas a bit like with the Junior Firpo, I remember at the weekend, I'm like, what on earth is Firpo doing out on the right wing? He popped up on the ball and he was playing. What's he doing over there? And I think I'd be saying that a lot if Nonto and Mamazani are in there. Be like, where's our midfield gone?
I guess we don't know though, unless it's kind of giving a little bit of what's I just think with it, I think when you look at a player, Brownie, you can see the attributes in there. The thing is, Farke's never going to play him in there. We all know that. But it's hard to judge when you've not seen them in there. I just think when you look at an attributes of a football player and where they can thrive, I see a lot of off the ball work from those players, which I'm a fan of. I think Nonto in particular is massively improved, and I think in those half spaces, mate, I think they'd be way more dangerous than what Aronson is.
Definitely,
I think, however, Aronson's positional awareness is brilliant. He's constantly on the move. He's a problem, but I'd much rather come up as a defensive midfielder. I'd much rather come up against Aronson than I would Ramazani and Nonto in that role.
Yeah. It's if you could morph the two together, you've got a £80 million attacking midfielder, haven't you? So and you don't really find them in the Championship. But
so what's your rhetoric then? Because that's my rhetoric really when it comes to a number 10. I think one of the wingers could play in that number 10 role. But from how you're going about this, it doesn't really sound like you agree. So what if people have said to you then, Brownie? Because you don't really have a solution there, mate. You're turning around and saying, well, I don't know. I don't think they could do the role. So what would you say to that then? Because it's just Aronson or nothing, isn't it?
I've said we've needed a 10 all throughout January. That's the one position I think we've been.
So you think we need a 10?
Been a little bit short. I think. Yeah. I just think off the ball is doing real. I think at home you could put anybody in there. We have that much of the ball. You could put anybody in there, and teams come to Ellen Road and just defend. Don't try and play. So even if they did try and break, we'd have enough bodies. I think it's away from home that the issue comes with that creativity, and you've seen that with the less points taken away from home, and we're not as creative away from home as we are at home because teams don't sit in as much.
So you a bit worried about that 10 role then? Because we're not getting a 10.
I'm not worried. I think we go up with or without a 10 coming. I think we're going up no matter what happens in the next 6 hours. I think Leeds go up. But I do believe that's why Farke's very tactical and likes things, doesn't risk the football, doesn't risk things. So I think that's why we've seen Aronson in there all season rather than a Nonto Ramazani. But I remember being on shows in years gone by when we've had to put square pegs in round holes and we've been pulling our hair out. Why not just put a round peg in a round hole? And I think that's what he's done with Aronson this year. But why, if you've got a round hole with a round peg, use it. Why put a square one there?
But even if you don't need it, even if you don't use the 10, we've said it here, you can play 4-3-3, or you could go 2 up front.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of the squad. When we're looking at that bench before, and people are saying, "Oh, but he can go there and he can go there if he dropped out," and that's why the squad's so good.
So then what happens to Aronson as well? If another number 10 comes in, the number 10's going to want assurances. What happens to Aronson? You can't turn around to Aronson and just say, oh yeah, number 10's coming in, but you're going to be starting week in, week out because you bring in a number 10 to improve that start.
The other thing that you've also got to think of is Leeds have got if Aronson was to go, Leeds have got to try and make a profit on as less a loss as possible on Aronson, and we paid nearly 30 million for him. So they need to get a tune out of Aronson, which is probably why he's played most of the season. So if he has a good
similar
season,
Melee, isn't it? Similar with Melee.
You know what I mean? Try and play them into some form so that they've got a selling value. So we're not making such a significant loss. Which 12 months ago, you'd have probably got £2.75 for Aronson, whereas at least this season he's put a bit of a tune together. So you probably get about £3 now. But it's trying to get as much money in as possible, I think. Would Aronson be starting week in, week out in the Premier League next year? I'd like to think not. But
Yeah. Buonanotte back to Brighton, and Brighton want him loaned straight out. Connor, there's an unbelievable 10. Yeah, we mentioned Buonanotte about 18 months ago on the channel. I don't know why he'd go back to Leicester and then be loaned out again. Maybe it's just rivalry. I'm not sure. Maybe they just want someone in a different division. That's not going to elevate him that much, to be honest with you. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. But it just doesn't sound like, I don't know. It's not. It doesn't really feel like Leeds have been after an out-and-out number 10. I don't know. Just doesn't feel like it. Archer, Armstrong, the heaviest rumours we've had this window. We know Archer can play in the 10, but you're not buying him into being. You're not buying him to be in the 10. You're buying him to be a number 9 for me.
I mean, buying anyone in this window, and then I can't see that happening whatsoever. 49ers have pulled people out of nowhere when nobody's seen it coming. But yeah, we've got less than 6 hours left now, and someone had seen a plane flying from somewhere or someone walking into Ellen Road at some point today if that was going to happen. So it looks to me like Armstrong or Archer or nothing. And I'm fine with any outcome. I don't see even Leeds messing it up for me.
No, I mean, even especially if Burnley kind of muck it up tomorrow night as well. If they draw again and let's say Leeds go to Cov and we win, I mean, I know there's different outcomes, but that's not bad. Yeah. And you're expecting Leeds to be very confident after the other day. Surely that's got to spur them on confidence-wise. 7-0.
I mean, we're on the homeward stretch now, aren't we? I know it's still 16 games, but we're into February and games start to get ticked off. And I think a 5-point cushion at this point is nice. It makes things a lot comfortable. It means you don't have to go into games and have to win them, whereas other teams do. Burnley are going into games now having to win to put any form of pressure on. Like I said, a good 45 minutes ago, 10 wins from 16 gets us to 93 points. What's this? Anybody speak Spanish or Colombian or Mexican or whatever it is?
Go down, mate. Translation.
Mateo jerk the forward. Be interesting to know how much. Is this from a reliable source or is this from someone with 4 followers?
Let's have a look. Let's have a quick look. Zona Mixta. Yeah, it's Sevilla base. So obviously, it's in around that area.
Yeah. Who's that? Real Betis?
Yeah. Seville and Betis. Yeah, it's the Betis.
So cool, then. How much are we putting on his head if it's a permanent deal? And if it's a permanent deal, there's someone definitely coming in, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no way he's leaving today and we don't bring someone in. I'd be astounded if he left today and nobody came in.
Yeah, I would. I think that's horrendous if they've done that. I'm not saying that'll happen, by the way, but it says Chucho Hernandez is option number 1 at the minute. Information from, hold on, let me find the actual, because it's not. So this is, yeah, once again, journalist, similar region. Obviously Seville region. Okay, a little bit more here. Let's translate the post. Hernandez is the number 1 option to reinforce the forward line if it does not materialise. Betis as a bullet in the chamber for Matteo. Sounds a bit ruthless. There's a bullet in the chamber for Matteo Joseph, lead striker under 21 international for Spain. He also submitted an offer. He is the other. So
I mean, if we're talking 15-20 million for Armstrong and Cameron Archer, I don't see how Joseph isn't in that bracket as well.
I agree.
He's a Spanish under 21 international.
Yeah, 15 and above. 15 and above, easy.
But
let him to go. But yeah, I'm not. Look,
we're renowned for. Again, I don't want to be derogatory, but having our pants pulled down in transfer negotiations in recent past. I mean, me and you had this debate for ages that 40 million for Phillips was cheap. The Rafinha deal was ridiculous. I mean, how the Barcelona got him out of there for that.
Yeah, Luke's right as well. Auto-link with Sevilla. Sevilla seems an easy deadline day click, in my opinion. Tom says, I'm happy with the current squad, more than good enough for the top 2.
It was Real Betis, though, wasn't it? Not Sevilla.
But exactly. He's Seville, isn't he? So it's Real Betis. It's Real Betis. They don't like each other at all. So yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly, Brownie. Yeah, it's Luke. I think it's the other side, mate. It's Betis, not Sevilla. 10 million as it stands. Joseph has to be 15 plus. Is that Orta?
Someone coming to pick up Aronson, I think.
Yeah, don't let Joseph go. Absolutely no way in this window. Anyone heard anything from the private jet? Yeah, it was Seville based, mate. Yeah, why would they talk about Betis though? I guess is the question. If anyone up there with the 49ers is watching you, yeah, Phil wants to sign him. I'll put it that way. I say 25 million. Yeah, it'd be a big one. I think it'd be a big one letting him go. For everyone who says Joseph's crap, Betis are eighth in La Liga, so he can't be that bad.
You must have seen that tapping at the weekend. Must have just knocked it over the line. I was delighted for him. And do you know what was really nice as well in the celebration? The embrace that him and Pirot had together on their own. I noticed that. Yeah. That was a good moment.
Yeah, nice one.
So
yeah.
What do people think too? Would Leeds fans rather have an Armstrong or Arch coming in, or would they prefer to see Burnley lose Brownhill? What would be the biggest win?
Good question.
I think Brownhill leaving Burnley is a bigger win.
Yeah, most assists, most goals, Brownhill.
I think them getting weaker is just huge. It looks like it's shaping up to be an interesting final 5 hours, 45 minutes, mate, if that's just materialised.
Yeah, Brownhill. But yeah, it is. I mean, I don't know how true it is. I don't know how true it is when it comes to Joseph. I mean, everybody knows we're kind of just working here in terms of on rumours. I'll just have a quick look and see if there's anything on the scene. Joseph. Nah, stay away from him. Just stay away from him.
Don't go to bed just yet. Oh, this is good. Leeds would like to announce the departure of Mateo Joseph. That concludes our business.
Oh dear. Yeah, that would I think people would be tuning in for one Leeds then. Adios Brownhill. Yeah, Brownhill all day long. The greatest compliment you can give to a player is to pick him. The greatest compliment you can give to a squad is to not bring anybody in. That's a really good point, John. It's a really good way of putting it. Brownhill all day long. Yeah, I think it's a good point there, Brownie. Well, let's say Brownhill's to leave the league, everyone. If Brownhill's to leave the league, you'd definitely rather that than Leeds to go in and do something, I think. Yeah, I think that's... I mean, as I say...
I'm thinking from a different perspective, and people might be a little bit more anxious, but I see Leeds in a title battle, not a promotion battle. That's where my head's at. I'm looking at winning the league rather than over my shoulder at third.
Yeah, I think are we I don't know. Burnley fans are quite cautious of it really, but I think there's a lot of Burnley fans who are a little bit like,
you can't go up with 10-0. You can't.
I think Edwards is going to make a big difference in terms of them turning that around, but still,
Could you imagine being a Burnley fan at Fratton Park, getting on the bus, having to travel back to Burnley after seeing a 0-0?
Mate, you're going there soon. Don't start that. You're going there soon.
No, but and then seeing that Leeds have scored 7. Honestly,
that's a good point.
I think I'd want the bus to drive the other way and just go into the channel.
Aragon says, "How can we sell Joseph?" Imagine that. He's summer. He'll just never leave.
It was heavily linked with Wrexham, wasn't he? And they've just signed Jay Rodriguez. But if he hadn't been injured, I think that would have been a goer.
Yeah. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I do. I think that'd have been a goer.
Cal says not worried about Burnley at all. I think Sunderland would be dangerous. I just
can't. I can't. If they don't win tonight, if they lose,
you watch Sunderland, Brownie. Have you watched Sunderland?
Yeah.
Do you think they look good?
Well, they're all right. I mean, if Melier can catch a ball, we win on their patch.
Do you think they're the best team we've come up against, though?
They were better than Burnley. I give them that. Burnley was actually, it was like watching terrorist football. It was pure.
Better than Sheffield, weren't they? Better than Sheffield, probably.
Yeah, but Sheffield just been there, done it. One t-shirt, just know how to grind games out. I don't know. Put it this way, I still see Leeds, Sheffield United as the top 2.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big game from tonight. One that we will be covering, mate, on my second channel if you want to pop in at any point.
Oh, very good.
Plenty of good sides in this league. None of them are a smidge on us, not even close. Right, my friend. Nearly 3,000 people watching. Make sure you slap a like on the video. Have you got
There'll be more than that if Joseph goes at 10 to 11.
Mike says,
Leeds have just won 7-0. How can we bring them all down to earth? Tell you what, we'll not sign anyone and we'll sell Joseph.
Yeah, we'll sell one of the best academy products. I think that would be a massive mistake to let Joseph go and keep Bamford. How much would it take to get Bamford off the books? I don't know. Maybe we can all just chip together. We'll all put 10 quid in each.
Problem with that is his wage, mate. There's nobody touching him with his wage.
Oh, he says Connor will be finding the tallest bridge if Joseph gets sold. Yeah, I will. Especially if they don't do it. Look, if they go and get someone else, then fine. I can legislate for that. But if they let Joseph go and do nothing else, that's horrendous.
It turns into a poor window, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, 100%.
The only thing I will say on that is I've not seen any other source coming out with anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you normally see as soon as one reliable source is on it, someone else jumps on the back of it. But there's nothing. So yeah. Let's hope it's a bit like the Matty Target rumour.
Exactly. Mental. Right. They'll get Bamford, Connor. Who knows? Yeah, we'll leave it there, guys. Thank you so much. And we're going to be back at 11 o'clock on the show. It's going to be nearly 7-8 hours worth of streaming. We're joined by Oscar. There you go. So, and we'll leave it there. Brownie, cheers for joining me, mate. And I'm sure we'll be on next week, pal.
Yeah. Speak to you all soon.